Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. This is your ultimate guide to everything you need to know about Die Maschine. The video is split up into different sections which correspond to difficulty level, starting with basics, moving through intermediate, and finally reaching expert. In the description and on screen right now, I'll have timestamps to all the different sections so you can click through to what you need right away, and I'll have chapters on the YouTube player so you can quickly navigate to different sections using that as well. I've also got more in-depth videos on all of the things I talked about in this video, and so if you feel like you've just got a taste for something but you want to know more info, I'll have lots of links in the description which you can click through to. With that said, let's start with the basics. Chapter 1, Loadout. Before you start your match, you can choose a loadout to spawn in with. If you want to level up a gun like you would do in multiplayer, you can do that in zombies too, but some guns are definitely going to be more effective than others. For a suggestion, I highly recommend the Hauer 77 shotgun, which you unlock nice and early at level 7. And when you eventually get the Gallo SA-12 shotgun, that one is fantastic as well. You can also choose a field upgrade that charges up in your game when you get kills, and you use this on console by pressing your left and right bumper at the same time, or on PC by pressing Q. When you're getting started, I recommend using your field upgrade as much as possible just to get an idea of how it works and where it's effective and where it isn't. Once you unlock it, I highly recommend you try the Aether Shroud field upgrade because it turns you invisible, and if you get caught in a group of zombies, you can just use that to escape without dying. It's really good for newer players. Chapter 2, Turning on Power. From the spawn area, you're going to go through this door here and enter Nachtrun Toten. When you get to the stairs here, make sure there aren't any zombies too close to you because it's going to take a second to clear when you buy this debris. Head upstairs and exit Nachtrun Toten via the door opposite the Stamina Up perk machine. You then need to run through the crash site to enter this tunnel, and you can then enter the bunker underneath the map. From here, it's nice and simple. Run the route that I'm showing you in the video and go through the particle accelerator room all the way to the power room just here and hit the red button to turn on the power. Chapter 3, Activating the Pack-a-Punch machine. Once power is on, run over to each of these switches in the particle accelerator room and hold square. Then run over to this platform and wait a second for a portal to spawn in. Hold square on it and you'll be teleported to the Dark Ether. When you're in the Dark Ether, you need to navigate to the top side of the map. There should be a marker on your screen showing you where there is an ether tunnel that you need to look for. This is what the marker looks like, and here is me finding the ether tunnel in my game. When you reach the tunnel, hold square and you will float down through the ground into the bunker once more. There will be a part right next to you that you can pick up, and you need to then bring that part to the Pack-a-Punch machine as indicated once more on your screen. By placing the part on that, you will have finished crafting the Pack-a-Punch. Each time you Pack-a-Punch, it's going to double the damage of your gun. It starts off costing 5,000, the second tier is 15,000, and the third is 30,000 points. You'll also get all your ammo back when you Pack-a-Punch. It's a good idea to Pack-a-Punch as much as you can, and you can also add an ammo mod for 2,000 points to add a slight damage increase to your weapon. I highly recommend Deadwire when you're starting out, as it's very effective on the big green zombies we'll be seeing called Megatons. Chapter 4, Dog Rounds. Once you turn on the power, you will start getting dog rounds every 5 rounds or so. The plague hounds, as they're called, explode when they die and create a cloud of gas which hurts the player. They can jump quite far and catch you if you're running away, so usually the best way to kill these is to stand your ground and shoot them as they run towards you. If you need to reload, then you can run away for a second while you do so, but you should then turn around and shoot them as they chase you. When you kill the last plague dog in the round, you'll get a max ammo. Chapter 5, Boss Zombies. There's a new boss zombie in Die Maschine called the Megaton. He shoots green blasts at you that damage you and do damage over time where they land as well, and he can hit you if you get too close. He is weak if you shoot him in the head, and when you kill him, he will split into 2 smaller zombies that are both still powerful called Megaton Blasters. These work similarly to the original Megaton zombie, but they move more quickly. There are 2 shortcuts to kill the Megaton more easily. The first is to use the Deadwire ammo mod, which I mentioned a second ago, which you can buy from the Pack-a-Punch machine, and the second is to use a score streak on him. The Firebow score streak is especially effective, and you can get that from the crafting bench. We'll be talking more about that in a second though. Chapter 6, Dark Ether portals. The same kind of portal you used to open the Pack-a-Punch is going to spawn in throughout your game in various areas of the map. We need to use these throughout the game to return to the Dark Ether and complete various objectives. However, it is important we take the correct portal, as only certain portals are going to work for certain objectives. If the portal you need for something has not appeared, you might need to get 25 kills in order to respawn it. Or it could mean that you're not ready yet to do that step that you're thinking you're trying to do, and you need to do something else in this guide first. While you're in the Dark Ether, you can also destroy purple crystals to get free ammo, and even sometimes free perks and guns. These respawn every time you go back to the Dark Ether, so I highly recommend you pay attention to them. Chapter 7. Ammo. You can buy a max ammo for your gun from one of the armor crates around the map. This is what they look like, and this is what they look like on your minimap, so you know what to look for. The ammo does get more expensive if you have an upgraded weapon, but it's still usually very affordable. You can also get more ammo from max ammo power-ups dropped by zombies or plague dogs, and getting a max ammo will automatically refresh your magazine, so you don't need to reload if your gun is empty. Chapter 8. Armor. There's a new armor system in Cold War Zombies shown just above your health bar. You'll take less damage when you get hit by a zombie if you have armor. It's pretty straightforward. Armor can be crafted from the armor station in the particle accelerator room just here, up to a maximum of 3 armor plates. If your armor gets damaged, you can also repair it at the armor station, or you can pick up armor plates dropped by zombies when you kill them. You can even pick up armor vests from this as well to completely refresh your current armor. If you do want to buy an armor repair, you'll need Salvage, and that's the topic of the next chapter. Chapter 9. Salvage. There are 2 types of salvage in Cold War Zombies. Green or common salvage, and blue or rare salvage. The amount you have can be seen on the scoreboard page just here, and you can also see it when you're in the crafting bench menu. To buy tier 1 armor from the Armor Machine costs 500 common salvage, tier 2 costs 1000 common, and tier 3 costs 250 rare. I would always recommend spending your salvage on armor as a priority in your game. It will keep you alive much longer, and it's cheaper to repair than it is to buy it in the first place. As I just mentioned, salvage can also be used at crafting benches around the map. There is one here, for example, in the spawn area, and here is another one in the tunnel area. At the crafting bench, you can use your salvage to buy grenades and also buy score streaks. If you're still fairly new to things, I'd recommend avoiding spending too much at the crafting bench early because you're going to want to save for armor, but once you've got your armor, feel free to spend to your heart's content. I think Stim is one of the most useful things because it will start you regenerating your health instantly when you use it. It's extremely useful if you get caught in a crowd of zombies, and for the score streaks page, I recommend the combat bow if you're having trouble with the Megaton because it's really effective on him, or the War Machine if you just want to take out regular zombies. Chapter 10. Weapon Rarities. Guns in Cold War Zombies have rarities now. The different tiers are common, red, uncommon, green, rare, blue, epic, purple, and legendary, orange. The higher the rarity of the gun, the more base damage it will do, and the more attachments it will have if you get it out of the mystery box or buy it as a wall weapon. The common or red rarity is the exception here because that's your loadout gun, and you can obviously choose your attachments in the loadout screen, so it works a tiny bit differently. You can upgrade the rarity of your weapon at the armor station. However, like I said before, I would recommend you don't do this unless you have lots of spare salvage because it's much better to get your armor first, and usually you're going to probably prioritize score streaks instead. Chapter 10 continued. The mystery box. The reason I've kind of bundled these together is because, to be honest, the mystery box works completely differently now to how it used to in previous Zombies games. There are some things that haven't changed. It still costs 950 points. It's still able to be found by looking for the big blue light in the sky, the big beam of light, and you still get teddies moving it to a new location after about 10 spins or so of the box. However, the guns in the box have rarities, and you're more likely to get a rarer weapon at higher rounds, so you're very unlikely to get a ray gun on round 1, whereas previously in Zombies, you would have an equal chance across all the box items. You therefore want to actually try and use the box strategically. I typically in my games focus on upgrading my loadout weapon first of all to tier 1 Pack-a-Punch, if it's a decent weapon at least, because that gives me time to spend my points on things like perks, which are more useful in the early game, and if the mystery box is just giving me green and blue weapons, then I don't want that in my late game either, so I might as well stick with the gun that I've got on spawn, or the Gallo SA-12 because that thing's so good off the wall, and then later in my game, when my chances of getting a much better weapon, like an epic weapon or even an orange, maybe the ray gun, are much better, then I'll start spinning the box. But I won't typically do it in the first 15-20 rounds of my game quite often. The RNG, in my opinion, just makes it not worth it in the really early rounds, and so if you are a beginner player, you could maybe hit the box once in your game just to get a second weapon and see how that is and get some experience with some new guns, get a feel for them. That's a really good idea, but I wouldn't put all your stock in the mystery box if I were you, spinning it just a handful of times and expecting to get a really good weapon when you're on round 7. Chapter 11, Perks. There are 6 perks in Die Maschine, and there is no perk limit, so you can have them all at once. Some of the perks do different things to previous Zombies games, so listen up, I'll run through them now. Stamina Up is upstairs in Nacht, and it increases your run and sprint speed. Juggernog is in the Crash site, and it increases your max health by 50, also known as 1 hit. Speed Cola in the medbay increases your reload speed by 15%. Deadshot Daiquiri in the weapons lab automatically moves your aim down sight to enemy critical locations, such as the head for headshots, and it removes Sniper Scope sway. Quick Revive in the pond area doubles the speed that you regenerate your health at and doubles the speed at which you revive other players. It does not give you self-revives in solo, that is no longer the case in Cold War Zombies. And finally, Elemental Pop in the power room gives every bullet you fire a chance to apply a random base ammo mod effect. These are the same mods that you can purchase from the Pack-a-Punch, such as Deadwire or Blast Furnace. If you're just starting out, I recommend always buying Juggernog first. Chapter 12. Trials. The Trials machine on the map can be purchased to start a random challenge. If you do well in the challenge, the game will start charging up a reward meter. You can choose to redeem your reward when you finish your trial, or you can just start another trial to make your reward more rare. The rewards go all the way from green to orange rarity and are redeemed on the machine next to the Trials machine. It's usually worth trying to get epic or legendary rewards from the machine because you can get things like chopper gunners, free perks, and even legendary weapons. Chapter 13, Low Round Strategy, roughly 1 to 10 or so. In your first solo game, I recommend you stay in the spawn area as long as you can. The zombies will get faster as you go through the rounds, so practice moving between each zombie kill so that the zombies are constantly chasing you instead of overwhelming you in one area. As you kill zombies, you can pick up the equipment or stims and sometimes even self-revives that they drop. Try out all the ones that drop and see what you like. You've got to find your playstyle after all. If you run out of ammo, you can buy more from the ammo crate as well, and like I said before, it's very cheap to do so. For a non-pack-a-punched gun, it should only cost about 250 points. On round 8, leave 1 zombie alive. You're now going to open through the map and turn on power and activate Pack-a-Punch, all with that last zombie remaining, so do not kill it. On the way to power, we're going to buy Juggernog, and we're going to buy the Gallo SA-12 shotgun off the wall if our loadout is a little dicey. If you've got a good loadout, you don't need to buy this gun. It's just great for medium to low rounds, it's super reliable, it's a good one. When you finish building the Pack-a-Punch, you should use it if you have enough points to. This is just going to make your life much easier, and with your papped weapon, you can end the round and start round 9. This should be a dog round, and my advice to you here is to make sure you don't get overwhelmed by killing the dogs as they come to you, instead of letting them all gang up on you at once and just trying to run away the whole time. You can do this round basically anywhere you like, the spawn is fine, here I'm doing it on the plane wing. With that round out of the way, you'll be on round 10, and this is when your first megaton green boss zombie is going to spawn in. You can spend this round on the plane wing, where I just did that gameplay just then, or you can spend it in the spawn if you like as well. Your newly pack-a-punched gun should do a really good job of taking him down, especially if you aim for those headshots. But if you want a little pro tip, we're going to use the firebow just to show how effective that is. Run over to the crafting bench, buy yourself a firebow, and then make sure you get direct impacts on the boss with the firebow. He should be really easy to take down using the bow, and you'll also get a load of rare salvage when you do kill both the megaton bombers, and that can be used to buy a war machine for your exfil next round if you so desire. The fact that you've pack-a-punched this early in your game should also mean your gun is really strong, and it should be fairly straightforward to take zombies down. When you start getting more points a bit later in your game, you can do things like buy speed cola and pack-a-punch further, but for now, this thing's gonna rip. The key to all of this, when the megatons spawned in, if you're getting a bit stressed, is to keep moving at all times, only killing zombies when you're definitely safe and when you're comfortable, or if they're blocking your escape route. Keep an eye on your minimap as well to help avoid getting snuck up on from behind, as you have permanent UAV, so you might as well make use of it. Chapter 14. Exfil. Every 5 rounds from round 11, you'll have an option to exfil at the start of the round. The radio to start exfil sequences is in the spawn area of the map, and if you start it, a 1 minute and 30-second timer will begin. You will need to run as fast as you can to the pond area of the map, and when you get there, you'll see a zombies counter on the left side of your screen, telling you how many zombies you need to kill before the time runs out. This is obviously difficult if you have a weak loadout, so make sure you pack a punch as much as possible before you start the exfil sequence, and make sure you buy a score streak like a firebow or a war machine before you start it as well. There will usually be one megaton that you also need to kill alongside all the other zombies, and it's going to take some time for him to do his animation where he splits in two and you kill his 2 blasters, so shoot him as a matter of priority, otherwise you're simply going to run out of time killing those final 2 blasters. When you kill all the zombies, including the blasters, you need to wait for the chopper to land, and then you need to hold square to get on it and end your game. Actually getting on the chopper has to be done before the time runs out, so make sure you don't forget to do that. Exfilling successfully will give you an XP and Aetherium Crystals bonus. Chapter 15. Aetherium Crystals. You can spend your Aetherium Crystals in the menu of the game to upgrade your perks, field upgrades, weapons, and ammo mods. You unlock crystals by beating milestone rounds, starting at round 10 and happening every 5 rounds thereafter, and by completing exfils. I recommend you start off spending your Aetherium Crystals upgrading Juggernog to tier 3, because this means Jug will give you an extra 2 hits before dying instead of 1. Look through the menu and see which other upgrades appeal to you and your playstyle. If you really like a certain ammo mod, for instance, like Deadwire maybe, seeing as we're using that to take down the Megaton, then upgrade that one first. There's really no point hoarding crystals here, so feel free to just spend, and then jump into game to try and earn some more. This is now the start of the intermediate section of the video. I'm going to be assuming from here on that you're a slightly more experienced player who knows the basics and is ready to get into some more strategic playstyles, techniques, and strategies. Chapter 16. Best Loadouts. There are 2 loadouts which I think stand out as being very, very strong. One, weirdly, is the combat knife, which you actually unlock at level 13. The knife one-hits zombies until around round 10, and if you're getting knife kills, you're also guaranteeing yourself the max number of points per kill, which is 115. The knife can be pack-a-punched also, so you can keep using it in later rounds if you want to, and you should also note here that the knife is not only good at very, very close range, it's actually got a little bit of distance to it, just a little, which makes all the difference when you're trying to stay away from zombies. Another really strong loadout weapon is the Gallo SA-12, or the Howler, which I previously mentioned, but the SA-12 is definitely better, and it's unlocked at level 34. I would highly recommend using a barrel and body attachment on the shotgun to make its effective damage as great as possible. I would also highly suggest adding a larger magazine to the gun, because then when you pack-a-punch it, the magazine will get even larger. Chapter 17. A couple of tricks to increase your damage. There are a few different methods you can use to make sure that your damage output is as good as possible. One is your ammo mod choices. Like I said before, Deadwire is super effective on zombies that have armor such as Megatons, but it's not so effective on regular zombies that don't have armor. So it makes more sense to try a different ammo mod on those zombies, such as Blast Furnace for instance, which actually ticks a lot quicker as well. Deadwire is going to activate every 15 seconds or so, whereas Blast Furnace is going to be more like 3 seconds. If you then have a second gun with, let's say, Brain Rot, you can use that weapon, turn a zombie, get it attacking for you, and then switch back to your Blast Furnace gun and shoot with that while your turned zombie does a load of work for you. It doubles up on the ammo mod capacity for damage. Another damage increase can come from using the right equipment. In the early rounds, it seems like all the equipment's the same, but once you start getting higher, you're going to want to make sure you prioritize picking C4 up instead of weaker explosives like Semtex. If you pick up C4 as well, and you've got it in your inventory, you'll automatically pick up any more C4 that you run over while you're playing, and this is a handy way of making sure that you don't have to manually grab it every single time. You can just focus on slaying, and it will slowly tick up in your inventory as you get those kills and run over the C4s on the floor. You should also consider changing your field upgrade if you're getting more confident too. Aether Shroud is fantastic, but it is defensive, and if you want to be offensive, I recommend Ring of Fire. It boosts your damage when you're standing inside it by up to 5 times, and it recharges pretty fast when you're getting kills as well, so this is a really good one to consider. Chapter 18. A free perk and a free gun, potentially a free wonder weapon. Instead of buying Juggernog as your first purchase every game, there's a trick to get it for free. easily. This will also get you a weapon which could be rare and might even be legendary, like the ray gun or the wonder weapon in the map. Once you've built the Pack-a-Punch machine, shoot the 5 blue balls I'm going to show you in the gameplay just here. The first one is on the walkway just behind this knocked over chair, and as you can see, it's glowing blue. Another is behind this metal grate, and to shoot this one, you're going to need to crouch. The third is up high, just above this little box thing on the wall. It's quite close to the ceiling. The fourth is easiest to see, I think, if you stand on the particle accelerator ring and you face towards Armour and then you look down. It's just there. And finally, the last one is in the window underneath the Pack-a-Punch, so go over to that and look at a very shallow angle towards the left side, and you should see the last blue ball. When you shoot each one, it will disappear to let you know that you've shot it correctly, and when you've done all 5, you'll be teleported to the Dark Aether for a zombie dance party. When you get back from the Dark Aether, there'll be a crate in front of the Pack-a-Punch machine, and you can open that to grab your free Juggernog perk and your free weapon. Chapter 19. Free Wonder Weapon, guaranteed. When you kill your first Megaton, he'll split into 2 Megaton blasters, and when you kill both of those, a yellow keycard will drop onto the floor. Pick this up and bring it to this machine in the Deadshot Daiquiri room. Place the keycard inside and grab the device that it's going to spit out in a drawer. Then bring a horde of zombies to the original spawn area of Nachdran Toten as shown in the gameplay here. Hold square on this crack in the wall, and a short trap sequence will initiate with the door of this small room that you're in front of. Run the zombies past the metal door, and they'll get sucked into the small room. If you do this with enough zombies and you keep running them back and forth, you'll be able to go back to the crack in the wall and hold square again to discharge, blowing the door off the room and granting you access to the room and a free wonder weapon inside. If you don't get enough zombies in one go of the sort of door trap, then simply wait for it to cool down again and then go back to the crack in the wall, hold square, the trap will start up again and you'll be able to finish filling it up. Chapter 20. Aether Scope. If you want to upgrade the wonder weapon, you need to first complete 3 short steps of the Easter egg, all related to the Aether Scope. Once you've finished building Pack-a-Punch, a new anomaly portal will spawn in somewhere on your map. You'll be able to find it by looking for the star icon on your minimap, there's a pro tip, and if it's not there, you might need to get 25 kills just to spawn it in. You need to go to the Dark Aether via that portal, and then start looking for 3 parts that I'm going to show you the locations of now. You can only pick these parts up in a specific order, and so I'm going to show you the 3 spawns, but you're going to need to check all 3 to find your first one, and only when you've picked up the first will your next part spawn in. So you'll need to check those first 2 locations again, get the next part, and then check the final remaining location. The first possible spawn is in the crash site on this part of the broken plane just here. The second possible spawn is in the spawn, actually, underneath the concrete stairs just here. It's an antenna. And the third possible spawn is down inside the particle accelerator room on the sort of metal ramp / stairs thing just here by the ether tunnel. When you've grabbed all 3 of those parts, you can run over to the workbench inside the particle accelerator room and craft the Aether Scope. You can then pick it up, of course, once it's crafted. You're going to need to do that. You should, by this point, have returned to the normal world, and you're now going to need to go back to the Dark Aether again, but this time using a newly spawned in portal in the Speed Cola room. Once you're in the Dark Aether via that portal, you need to grab a diary from the desk, as you can see I'm doing in the gameplay just here, and we're going to be giving that diary to 3 separate ghosts. The first ghost is inside the Speed Cola room in this corner. Walk over to the empty corner, and when you get close to it, a blue ball will appear, which you can interact with to spawn the ghost in. Then simply interact with the ghost and give it the book. The second ghost is in the Trials room. It's in the sort of side corridor part of the room, so run over, spawn the ghost in by holding square on the blue ball, and then give the ghost the book once more. That's 2 separate interacts per ghost, by the way, guys. The third ghost will be in front of the Aether Scope workbench, so run over to the blue ball that will be there, hold square on it to turn it into a ghost, and then hold square again to give it the diary. If you don't have enough time to do this all in one teleport, you can go back through that same Speed Cola portal if you get 25 kills to respawn it in. With all 3 ghosts given all 3 diaries, you need to go back to the room when we pick the diary up, and you should be able to enter a password onto the computer. The big chamber in front of you should start glowing blue, and that's your sign that you've completed everything you need to do with the Aether Scope in order to start your wonder weapon upgrades. Chapter 21. Wonder Weapon Upgrades. Now that you've built the Aether Scope and done the Ghost and Diary and password steps of the Easter egg, you're ready to upgrade the Wonder Weapon. I want to be very clear here. If you haven't done everything that I said in Chapter 20 called Aether Scope, then you're not going to be able to start this process, so don't even think about it. Do the Aether Scope stuff, get yourself the Wonder Weapon, and then get your ass back in here and you can get the upgrades started. There are 4 elemental upgrades: lightning, fire, gas, and ice. Remember, you have to use the right portals for this as well, so if they aren't open, you need to either complete the stuff in the Aether Scope bit of the video, or you need to get 25 kills to reopen your portal. You also have to have the Wonder Weapon in order to start the upgrades here. It will not work and you won't be able to spawn the portals in without it. Let's start with the lightning upgrade. Use the portal underneath the Pack-a-Punch to teleport to the Dark Aether. Using any other portal for this step will not work. So teleport into the Dark Aether and then run upstairs. We're going to be looking for 3 yellow crystals in locations that I'm going to show you now. One is on top of Narcoran Totem off to the side near the Wonder Fizz just here. The second is going to be next to the cave entrance by Juggernog. You're going to find it on the side, kind of raised up a little bit, just here. And the third is in the pond area of the map, just here. When you find one of these yellow glowing crystals, you need to suck it with the Wonder Weapon. So if you've got full ammo, blast off one shot so you get your suck ability and then suck that crystal right up. You then need to make sure you don't fire your weapon and you need to run down back to the particle accelerator room and specifically to this box here. Fire the yellow energy into the box and a light should turn on top of it. Then you simply need to do this 2 more times. You can do this all in one ether teleport if you're very quick, but if you're not fast enough, you'll need to get 25 kills to respawn that portal in the base of the Pack-a-Punch room, and you have to teleport using that portal. I cannot stress that enough. Run to your other 2 crystals, suck them up, blast them at the box, and with the third and final one done, you can go over to the box, hold square on it, and you'll get your electric upgrade. To start the fire upgrade, come to this broken plane and shoot the little metal box you can see I'm shooting here to open it up. Then when you go to the Dark Aether, this plane will be floating and you'll be able to run over to that silver box and pick up the fuse that's inside. You then need to take a new trip to the Dark Aether using specifically this portal here in front of Narcoran Totem between Nacht and the pond area of the map. You then need to run over to the Deadshot Die Machine, and in that little enclosure you should find a box which you can place the fuse into. This will laser cut the box open, and if you go find the box, which will now be present on top of the truck bed in the pond area of the map, you'll be able to equip your fire upgrade. The gas upgrade doesn't require you to teleport to the Dark Aether at all. We're going to need a cylinder or a canister, and that can only be acquired using the Wonder Weapon. Bring the Wonder Weapon to the roof of Nacht and use the suck functionality to suck the canister from across the roof where it's out of reach and into your hands. Hold square to pick it up, and then run over to Deadshot Daiquiri. You're going to place the canister in the little wall contraption just here, and you then need to fill it with gas, which can be done by killing a plague dog right in front of where the canister is now mounted. You only need 1 plague dog kill here, but it does have to be right next to the canister, and the gas should then suck up inside it, and you'll be able to pick the canister back up. Bring the canister to the crash site and place it on top of this box, which is covered in vines. You then need to shoot the canister, it will explode and open the box for you, allowing you to grab your gas upgrade. Finally, the ice upgrade. This is going to require use of a megaton. We need to get one of the big chunguses to shoot the fungus on the tree in front of Narcoran Totem. So when there's a chungus among us, get him to shoot the fungus by standing near the fungus, and he should target you and blast towards you, turning the fungus purple in the process. That's how you know that you've done that step correctly. You can then shoot the regular unupgraded Wonder Weapon at this wooden box on top of Narcoran Totem attached to the roof, and it will drop down and a glass flask will break out of the wreckage below. This flask needs to be picked up and moved underneath the purple fungus, and after about 30 seconds to a minute, you may need to flip the round. It should be filled up full of fungus liquid, and you can then pick it back up. You're going to bring that liquid down to this box here in the speed cola room, the med bay, pour it onto the box by holding square, and that will give you your ice upgrade for the Wonder Weapon. If you pick up an upgrade and want to get rid of it, you can just go back to the box you got it from, hold square, and you'll get rid of it again. And you can also just hot swap the different upgrades by running over to a new box and holding square to get a new one. Each Wonder Weapon upgrade is good at different things. The de-electroball upgrade is probably my favorite. It's really good for killing zombies and for killing bosses, and it's got a good amount of ammo in reserve, which is nice. The de-thermophasic is probably the best if you're just focused on killing bosses, so maybe you're doing the Easter egg and you want it for the boss fight. It's pretty damn good there as well, but it's not good at killing zombies at all. The gas upgrade is good for killing zombies and not good for killing bosses, and finally the ice upgrade is a bit more strategic. It'll slow zombies down and kill them, but it's a little more personal preference as to whether you love or hate this one. If you do get tempted to do the Easter egg, now that I've been talking about it a little bit, I've got it linked in the description down below, and I really recommend that you give it a go because it's actually one of the easiest Easter eggs to do in COD Zombies history, in my opinion. It's a really, really nice one. So you're already most of the way there with all these upgrades, you might as well give it a shot. Chapter 22, Mid-Round Strategy. If you're getting more comfortable holding zombies, I'm going to show you a little bit more difficult strategy to hoard when the spawns are a bit faster. Open up the bunker via the route on the speed cola side, and don't open the other side. The room from the tunnel to Deadshot should stay closed. You're instead going to want to open to Deadshot from the particle accelerator room itself, and the reason for that is we want that last door shut just to prevent the spawns from getting too crazy in the Deadshot room and to use as a get out of jail free card if you do get overrun. You're going to hoard up in here using the stairs to jump over and parkour around the zombies, and the hole in the floor in the middle of the room if you need an immediate exit. You have easy access in here to the armor station nearby, as well as Pack-a-Punch in the adjacent room, and an ammo box at the bottom of the particle accelerator room, which you can grab at any time as well. If this strat feels too hectic for you and you start to feel like you're going to get overwhelmed too quickly, then I would head back to Juggernog and hoard over there. It's a similar thing where you've got the verticality of the plane wing to help you jump around the zombies a little bit, and you've got plenty of space to move around with a full group or just a couple of zombies as stragglers and take them down without too many problems. It's also a decent idea at some points in your game to get some practice hoarding zombies in the pond area of the map, just because when you're doing your exfils, you'll always be there, and it's always a good idea to make sure that you're comfortable in that space before you do a really high pressure exfil. Speaking of exfils, once you're more comfortable, you can also try exfilling at higher rounds as well. The rewards that you get increase as you exfil at higher and higher rounds, and so I would say try an exfil at round 26 in a game, and if you manage that, then try and go for round 31. 31 is actually the best mathematically to exfil at for XP and crystals. I've got a whole video explaining this that's linked in the description down below if you want to go check that out. But a 26 exfil is still really good, and you will get an increased number of crystals for doing that. The easiest way to get that exfil done is usually to make sure you've got C4, a double pack-a-punched or triple pack-a-punched weapon with the dead wire, and a war machine. Start the exfil, get to the pond, and then hold your zombies for maybe 10-15 seconds just to group them up a little bit, and then whip out your war machine and fire off 2 shots. This should pretty much wipe out the entire horde and is a nice start to the exfil. You can then repeat this once more, and while you're doing this next one, keep an eye on your Megaton. You're going to need to start taking him down in just a second here. As soon as you feel like you have even the slightest amount of breathing space, the Megaton should become your priority, and you're going to want to lay into him with your dead wire weapon. Then, while he's splitting, get in a good position where you have a vantage point on him, for example, maybe using your Ether Shroud, and pull out your War Machine. You're going to use the splash damage of the War Machine to hit both Megaton blasters at once, taking them both down and hopefully taking out any zombies that are in the area as well, and that should only leave you with maybe a couple of zombies on your tail to take out in a much less high pressure scenario. Do not use equipment on the Megatons, as it's just not going to be effective. Use that on the zombies and it will absolutely wreck them all. It's great. And remember, if you do run out of ammo here for any reason, you can buy more from the crate at the back of the pond. This marks the beginning of the expert section of the video. This is for pros only. Well, not really. You can keep watching this if you're an intermediate player, but I've got some tips for you guys that's going to save you time in your games or just help give you the edge over someone that doesn't know a couple of these secret tips, tricks, and strats. Chapter 23, List of Expert Techniques. I think all experts should stay in spawn until round 10. It's just the best thing to do in my opinion. It means you have enough to open Pack-a-Punch fully, Pack-a-Punch to tier 1, buy an ammo mod, a perk or 2, all before you even see your first Megaton, and the spawns in the spawn are pretty quick, so it's just a good idea. I also recommend you do not buy Jug on your way to Pack-a-Punch. Just do the Zombie Dance Party 5 blue balls Easter egg straight away once you activate Pack-a-Punch, and you'll save points, you'll get some salvage, you'll get a nice weapon to set you up for later in the game. You could even get a ray gun here to perfectly set you up, and you'll get your Jug for free, so it's a win-win. Another points-related tip is that you can actually get more points from the perk machines when you lie down in front of them instead of your normal 100, if and only if double points is active. It didn't used to work like this in previous games, but now it does, so if you wait to grab that spare change until you've got a double points, you'll get 200 instead of 100. You can also avoid having to buy your first tier of armor, which normally would cost you 500 salvage, by simply grabbing an armor vest dropped by a zombie while you're doing your first 10 rounds in the spawn or whatever. The game automatically just gives you an armor plate when you do this, and so you'll then only have to buy tier 2 and tier 3. You should also, as an expert, be checking your challenges nearest to completion tab before every game you play to check off all the easiest challenges there for some easy XP boosts. There are also Dark Ops challenges you can do, and there are some that are really straightforward, even for an intermediate player, like beating round 30 without dying and getting to round 20 using only your loadout weapon and score streaks from the crafting bench. Those will give you loads of XP as well. Chapter 24. High round strategy. High rounds in this game are a bit different to older zombies titles, and so even at very high rounds like round 100 or round 200, you can still finish the round incredibly quickly using the exact same strat that you were using at round 50. Before we go any further, I want to shout out the MC Zombie Slayer, who I believe is the founder of this strat. It's incredibly well put together and makes high round attempts accessible for everyone, so I'm really glad he was able to create it. Before you start your game, you need to navigate to your field upgrade skill tree and make sure you've maxed out Ring of Fire all the way to tier 3. To do the strat, there are 3 things we need: the ray gun, the D shockwave, the wonder weapon, and you need to keep a specific door closed on the map. To make sure you don't accidentally open it, I'm going to show you that first. It's on the roof of Nachtruntoten, just next to the Wonder Fizz machine. Do not open that door, or debris, or whatever you want to call it. To get yourself the D shockwave, you can do the free D shockwave Easter egg that I showed you earlier in this guide, and to get the ray gun, you can try and do the Coffin Dance Party Easter egg. The chances of you getting it there, though, are pretty low, so once that's done, start spinning the mystery box for the ray gun throughout your game. Bearing in mind that you're more likely to get it from the box later in the game, and so if you've got a chunk of points to spend and you want to get perks first, do that and then start spinning for the ray. You can also break open Aether Crystals in the later rounds to try and get the ray gun, or you can do your trials and try and get that legendary over and over again to see if that will give you a ray gun. The best method after the Coffin Easter egg, though, is probably just spinning the box, and so you'll need to dump a load of points in there in order to get it. It's pretty damn rare because it's so strong, but keep spinning and you'll get it eventually. With the ray gun and the Die Shockwave, we're nearly ready to start the strat. The last thing to do here is to simply pack-a-punch your ray gun 3 times. It's going to cost 50k points total, but we're going to high rounds and we need that extra damage, so get that done and make sure you've got your full 6-pack of perks as well. Before you start the strat, you're going to want to make sure that you've got a chopper gunner in your inventory. You can craft them really easily in the spawn area of the map on the crafting bench. You should also craft yourself a monkey bomb while you're there, and once you've got one and you're ready to go, you're ready to give this a try, you're going to want to end the round you're currently on and run up to the top or the roof of Nachtruntoten. As the round begins, you need to pop your Ring of Fire straight away in the position where I am standing right now. You'll notice up here that there are 2 main points where the zombies are coming at you from. One is right in front of you and one is directly to your left, but the Ring of Fire, with its doubled damage from those Aether Crystals we spent, is going to take care of the entire spawn on your left-hand side, so you can focus entirely with your ray gun on the zombies in front of you. You may also remember from that video I did where I did over 1 million damage to a zombie in 1 bullet, that Ring of Fire gives you a 5 times damage multiplier, so it's going to make your ray gun an absolute killing machine every single time you drop it down. Your Ring of Fire will last for 15 seconds. While it's active, you can actually jiggle in and out of the side of the ring, and when you're getting kills and you're standing outside the ring, they will contribute to your next Ring of Fire, so you're already getting charged up, ready to drop another one down. This isn't actually 100% necessary to the way the strategy works, and so if Treyarch was to patch this jiggle ability, for example, you would still be able to do the strat. It would just be slightly different, as you'll see in a second. You should also bear in mind that while you're in the fire, you don't have to reload because of that tier 3 upgrade we put on, but if you're jiggling out of the fire, you may find that if you use too much ammo out there, you do need to reload, and that's going to be pretty bad for you, so you're going to want to try and avoid that if you can. While your Ring of Fire is active, you need to make sure that if any megatons spawn in front of you, you focus on them and make sure that you split them using that buffed ray gun. At lower rounds, you may be able to take out the megaton blasters really easily as well, because they're just not going to have that much health yet, but later on, the continued version of this strategy is going to be essential to getting rid of them nice and easily. When your Ring of Fire runs out, it's only going to be a matter of time before you eventually get overwhelmed. You need to use this time to keep spraying your ray gun and get a couple of kills, which will help you fill up your Ring of Fire meter for the next use. This is why jiggling is not essential. You can get your Ring of Fire charge at the end here instead of during the Ring of Fire. The non-jiggling method is maybe a little bit bit more stressful, but both in theory work. You also may find that before maybe round 70 or so, when you're getting your max speed super sprinters, you can actually survive okay with just that ray gun, making sure that you keep an eye on both those spawn points. But once you do get those super sprinters, it's going to be really difficult. And that's why we brought a chopper gunner. Pull out your chopper gunner as soon as you do get overwhelmed, remembering that zombies are going to do more damage to you in later rounds. And so you need to be a little bit more conservative with how long you think you can last. Like, play it safe is what I'm saying here. And in the chopper, kill as many zombies as possible. If you took my advice from earlier on and split the megaton using your ray gun, that's good news, because the animation of him splitting should be finished by the time your chopper gunner spins up, and so you can kill both halves super easily and get rid of him really quickly. You're going to want to shoot all over that corner of the roof where you're standing as well, because there'll be a bunch of zombies there that don't show up as red dots, and you need to take those down as well. You cannot kill yourself with the chopper gunner, by the way, so don't worry about that. And also, even if you think a zombie is somewhere that you couldn't hit it with the chopper gunner, you might as well still fire at the red dot if you can see the red dot, because sometimes the game still lets you kill them. If your round ends while you're in the chopper gunner, you're going to want to cancel out of it early and go and run around grabbing all the salvage and all of the armor vests and plates that will have been dropped by the zombies that were previously on the roof before you mowed them down. You then need to take a quick trip down to the crafting bench and craft yourself a new chopper gunner, and also make sure you're maxed out on monkeys as well. If the chopper gunner doesn't end the round, you have a couple of options. You're going to want to get off the roof pretty much as fast as you can, because the zombies are going to start targeting you nearly instantly once you're out of the chopper, and you're going to get overrun really quickly if you don't escape fast. You're going to want to take the route that I'm showing you here, dropping all the way down through the building, and if you really want to, you can grab ammo from the ammo box here as well. You then, as you're running out, are also going to monkey and throw that down just before you go to the crafting bench. This is going to give you a little bit of time, if you want to craft yourself a new chopper gunner and to run all the way back up to the position you were originally in and start the strat all over again. Or if you think that you're near the end of the round, maybe you've only got half a horde left, or maybe there's just one horde left, you could always buy a war machine from the crafting bench instead, get your horde up outside very carefully, and then take them down with the war machine to end the round more quickly. Remember to get more monkeys from the crafting bench, and also remember that when the new round starts, you do need your chopper gunner, so don't just start the new round with a war machine, craft your chopper gunner, and then go back to the roof straight away. When the round is over, you might be wondering how you get your armor back quickly. This is really simple. Go to the ether tunnel in the bedroom of Nacht Rontoten, the original Nacht spawn, and take that right down into the particle accelerator room, grab your armor, and then you can zip right back up through that same tunnel all the way back into Nacht, and you can run onto the roof and start your next round happy as Larry. The very last thing to mention is what to do when we get an insta-kill, and it's very simple. We're going to switch to the wonder weapon instead of the ray gun. You need to stay in the same sort of place that you'd normally be doing your ring of fire and suck the zombies as they come towards you. You'll insta-kill them. It'll be really, really quick here. But remember, if you reach your max ammo count, it's going to stop sucking, and so you'll need to fire a shot and then you'll be able to suck again. Also, don't get complacent. If the Chungus comes, he can still mess you up even on insta-kill rounds, so keep your wits about you. With all of that said, the ultimate guide to Die Maschine is finally over. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I've poured so much work into this video, and I would really appreciate if you could share the love. Share it with your friends, actually. That's the best thing you could possibly do. Share it with any new players you know to the mode. Share it with your mum. Introduce her to Call of Duty Zombies. The whole shebang. Get people involved, get people invested, and get people playing the game that might not have been playing it before. That would make my day. This has also been a team effort, and I'd like to give a quick shout out here to MC Sportshawk and Conway22. You guys have been amazing throughout this whole process. That's enough from me though. Thanks for being here, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.